A long-haul flight is demanding on any body, but for senior travelers, a handful of small mistakes can turn a 10-hour flight into days of recovery. The good news is that every one of these mistakes is avoidable once you know what to watch for, and none of them require giving up long-distance travel. They just require doing a few things differently than most passengers do. In this video, we are going through the 10 mistakes senior travelers can't afford to make on long-haul flights, and exactly what to do instead, so the next 10-hour journey feels manageable rather than draining. Like and subscribe before we start. Share this with a senior traveler you care about, and let's get into it. 1. Choosing a window or middle seat over an aisle. The seat you book matters more on a long-haul flight than almost any other decision, and most travelers book by view preference rather than mobility need. A window seat means climbing over one or two seatmates every time you need to stand, which discourages movement during the exact flight where movement matters most. Reduced mobility during long periods of immobility increases the risk of deep vein thrombosis, a risk that already rises with age and is worsened by cabin pressure at altitude. An aisle seat removes that barrier entirely. You can stand, stretch, and walk the aisle every 1 to 2 hours without disturbing anyone or feeling like a burden. It also means reaching the lavatory without negotiation, which matters more than it sounds, since many senior travelers quietly restrict fluid intake specifically to avoid that interaction. Book the aisle seat during seat selection, or use a tool like Seat Guru to find aisle seats with the most legroom on your specific aircraft. Bulkhead and exit row seats are worth considering too, since both typically offer extra legroom that makes standing up and settling back down significantly easier on aging knees and hips. The trade-off is that exit row seats sometimes come with airline requirements about assisting in an emergency, so confirm eligibility before selecting one. A few extra inches of space at the front of a long flight makes a measurable difference in overall comfort by the 10th hour. If aisle seats near the front of the cabin aren't available when you book, check back periodically before departure. Seat maps shift as other passengers change their selections, and a quick recheck a few days before the flight or during online check-in often opens up a better option than what was available at the time of booking. 2. Skipping compression socks. Sitting still for 8 or more hours at altitude accelerates blood pooling in the legs, and this effect is more pronounced for older travelers due to naturally reduced circulation efficiency. Skipping compression socks on a long-haul flight is one of the most common and most consequential mistakes on this list, because the resulting swelling, discomfort, and circulatory strain are entirely preventable with a $15 item. Graduated compression socks apply pressure that's strongest at the ankle and gradually decreases up the calf, actively encouraging blood to flow upward rather than pooling. Put them on before boarding and leave them on for the duration of the flight. Modern compression socks are lightweight, breathable, and don't look like medical equipment. For senior travelers specifically, this is one of the highest value, lowest cost, preventive steps available for any flight over 4 hours. Pair the socks with simple in-seat leg exercises every hour or two. Ankle circles, calf raises, and gentle knee lifts all keep circulation moving even between aisle walks. None of these require standing or disturbing a neighbor, and together with compression socks, they meaningfully reduce the swelling and stiffness that otherwise builds steadily across a long flight. Choose a moderate compression level, typically 15 to 20 millimeters of mercury, unless a doctor has recommended a stronger grade for a specific circulatory condition. Higher compression isn't automatically better and can be uncomfortable for hours of continuous wear. A properly fitted moderate pair, put on before swelling begins rather than after, gives the best balance of comfort and protection. 3. Not prearranging wheelchair assistance. Many senior travelers who would clearly benefit from wheelchair assistance never request it, often out of a reluctance to seem like they need extra help. This is a mistake with real physical consequences. Long-haul terminals involve extensive walking, and arriving at a 10-hour flight already fatigued from a half-mile terminal walk undermines the entire trip before it starts. Wheelchair assistance is available to any traveler who would benefit from it, regardless of whether they use a wheelchair in daily life. It is free. It covers the entire journey from curb to gate, and it includes expedited security lanes at most major airports. Request it when booking, or at least 48 hours before departure, by calling the airline directly. Arriving at the gate already rested rather than depleted changes how the entire flight feels. The same service applies on arrival and during connections, so request it for every leg of a multi-flight itinerary, not just the first one. Long layovers in unfamiliar airports involve just as much walking as the initial departure, and arranging assistance for connections prevents the fatigue from compounding across a full day of travel rather than resetting at each stop. There is no shame and no extra scrutiny involved in using this service. Airport staff who provide wheelchair assistance See travelers of every mobility level use it daily, and accepting the help when it would genuinely make a 10-hour travel day easier is a practical decision, not an admission of weakness. Treat it the same as any other amenity that exists specifically to make the trip better. 4. Restricting water intake to avoid bathroom trips. Cabin humidity sits between 10 and 20%, drier than most deserts, and the body loses fluid steadily throughout a long flight without the obvious thirst signal that prompts hydration on the ground. For senior travelers, this risk is compounded by a naturally reduced thirst sensation and by diuretic medications commonly prescribed for blood pressure and heart conditions, both of which accelerate dehydration. The mistake is restricting water specifically to reduce bathroom trips, which sets off a cycle of headache, fatigue, and confusion that's often mistaken for ordinary travel tiredness. The fix is to drink roughly 8 ounces of water per hour of flight, paired with an aisle seat that removes the social friction of frequent bathroom access. Bring a refillable bottle through security empty, fill it after the checkpoint, and ask flight attendants for refills during the flight rather than waiting for the cart. Avoid replacing water with alcohol or excessive coffee during the flight, since both accelerate the same fluid loss the cabin air is already causing. A glass of wine at altitude also hits harder than it would on the ground due to lower cabin pressure and reduced oxygen availability, which can intensify grogginess and disorientation in ways that are easy to mistake for simple fatigue. A simple lip balm and a small bottle of facial moisturizer also help counter the dryness that cabin air causes to skin during a long flight. These are minor comfort items, but combined with consistent water intake, they reduce the overall sense of depletion that many senior travelers report after a long-haul flight and attribute solely to the flight length rather than to dehydration. 5. Packing medication in checked luggage. This mistake has the most serious potential consequences on this entire list. Checked bags get delayed, rerouted, or lost with some regularity, and the cargo hold experiences temperature swings that aren't suitable for many medications. A senior traveler who packs maintenance medication in a checked bag and then experiences a baggage delay can find themselves in a foreign city without access to medication they depend on daily. All medications, prescription and over-the-counter, belong in carry-on luggage where they stay with you at all times. Bring a buffer supply covering your full trip, plus 2 to 3 extra days in case of delays. Keep medications in their original labeled containers, and consider carrying a written list of what you take along with dosages. This single change removes one of the most serious and most avoidable risks of long-distance travel. If you take a refrigerated medication such as insulin, an insulated travel case designed to maintain temperature for 24 to 72 hours solves the cold chain problem without depending on the aircraft or airport for refrigeration. These cases are inexpensive, pass through security without issue, and remove one more variable from a trip where reliability matters more than convenience. It also helps to keep a digital photo of your prescription labels saved on your phone before departure. If a bottle is ever lost, damaged, or needs replacing at an unfamiliar pharmacy abroad, having the exact medication name, dosage, and prescribing doctor on hand speeds up getting a correct refill far more than trying to recall the details from memory. 6. Skipping travel insurance with pre-existing condition coverage. Basic travel insurance bundled at checkout during flight booking is frequently inadequate for senior travelers because it typically excludes pre-existing conditions and caps medical coverage well below what international emergency care actually costs. Medical evacuation from a foreign country without proper coverage can run into 6 figures, and that exposure is the single largest financial risk in international senior travel. The fix is purchasing comprehensive coverage that specifically includes pre-existing condition coverage, high medical limits, and emergency evacuation, and doing so immediately after booking the trip rather than waiting. Most policies that cover pre-existing conditions require purchase within a specific window after the initial trip deposit. Waiting until closer to departure often means losing access to that coverage entirely, even if you're willing to pay for it. Premiums for travelers over 70 are higher than for younger travelers, often $200 to $600 for a single international trip, which can feel uncomfortable to pay. But that figure is a small fraction of what an uninsured medical evacuation or emergency hospitalization abroad can cost, and the comparison is worth making honestly before deciding the coverage isn't necessary. Read the policy details carefully rather than assuming all comprehensive plans are equivalent. Coverage limits, evacuation provisions, and the exact definition of a pre-existing condition vary meaningfully between insurers, and a few extra minutes comparing 2 or 3 policies before purchase often reveals significant differences in what is actually covered for the same price. 7. Not using pre-boarding. Nearly every airline offers pre-boarding for passengers who would benefit from additional time. and many senior travelers never use it, instead joining the general boarding queue and rushing to get settled before the aisle fills with passengers behind them. This creates avoidable stress before a flight that's already going to be physically demanding. Pre-boarding gives you time to stow bags, settle into your seat, and arrange medications or comfort items without pressure. Simply tell the gate agent before the general boarding call that you would benefit from extra time. No documentation or explanation is required, and the request is almost always honored without question. Arriving at your seat, calm rather than rushed, sets the tone for the entire flight. If you're traveling with a companion, pre-boarding typically covers your entire party, so you both settle in together rather than one of you boarding early and waiting alone while the other works through the general line. This small coordination detail removes one more source of unnecessary stress from the start of a long journey. Pre-boarding also gives you first access to overhead bin space near your row, which matters more on long-haul flights where every passenger is carrying a full kit of comfort items. Securing that space early removes the worry of having a bag gate checked, simply because the bins filled up before you could board. 8. Trying to lift heavy carry-on bags into the overhead bin alone. The lifting motion required to place a bag overhead combines a near maximum arm extension with significant weight at an awkward angle, and it is one of the more common sources of in-flight injury for senior passengers who attempt it without assistance. Pride, or a desire not to inconvenience others, leads many travelers to attempt this lift solo rather than asking for help. Ask a flight attendant for help the moment you board. Before the boarding rush creates a situation where everyone needs help simultaneously. If lifting is genuinely difficult, most airlines will gate check a carry-on bag for free, returning it at the jet bridge on arrival, removing the lifting requirement entirely. This is a standard accommodation, not a special favor, and using it prevents a real injury risk for the sake of avoiding a brief moment of asking. Choosing a carry-on with 4 spinner wheels and a structured shell also reduces the physical demand at every other point in the journey, since it rolls smoothly through terminals and stands upright without needing to be lifted onto a cart. Equipment that works with your body rather than against it removes strain well before you ever reach the aircraft door. It is also worth packing your heaviest items in a checked bag rather than the carry-on whenever possible, reserving the overhead bin for lighter essentials like a jacket, a small bag of snacks, or a tablet. The less weight you need to lift overhead in the first place, the less the whole question of assistance even comes up. 9. Not telling the crew about relevant health conditions. Flight attendants consistently note that senior travelers tend to stay quiet about health conditions out of a wish not to be a burden, and this silence works against them. A passenger who mentions a heart condition during boarding gives the crew information they can act on proactively. The same passenger who says nothing and then experiences chest discomfort in hour 4 creates a more difficult situation for everyone, including themselves. A brief, calm mention to a crew member during boarding or a simple medical alert card with your condition, allergies, and emergency contact information takes 30 seconds and changes how prepared the crew is to help if anything happens. This is not an imposition. It is exactly the kind of information cabin crew are trained to use well, and senior travelers who share it report markedly more attentive service throughout the flight. Many travelers find a printed card easier to hand over than explaining a condition verbally in a crowded boarding doorway. A simple card listing your name, condition, medications, allergies, and an emergency contact takes a few minutes to prepare at home and removes any hesitation about how or when to bring it up once you're actually boarding. This same openness extends to seatmates, not just crew. A brief, friendly word to the person sitting beside you about a relevant condition means they're not caught off guard and know to flag a flight attendant quickly if something changes. Most fellow passengers respond with genuine willingness to help when they understand the situation in advance. 10. Skipping the post-flight recovery window. The final mistake happens after landing, not during the flight. Many senior travelers book activities, transfers, or meetings immediately after a long-haul arrival, assuming they'll feel fine once they're off the plane. Long-haul travel produces real physiological fatigue, dehydration, and jet lag that don't resolve the moment the wheels touch down, and pushing straight into activity without any buffer often produces a rough first day or two at the destination. Build a deliberate recovery window into the itinerary, ideally the first half day or full day after a long-haul arrival, with nothing scheduled beyond rest, hydration, and light movement. This single planning decision does more to protect how the rest of the trip feels than almost anything else on this list. A trip that starts with a buffer day consistently goes better than one that starts at full pace the moment the plane lands. Light exposure to natural sunlight during that recovery window, combined with staying awake until a reasonable local bedtime rather than napping the day away, helps reset the body's clock faster than simply resting indoors. The goal isn't to do nothing entirely, but to keep the first day gentle enough that the body has room to adjust before the trip's real itinerary begins. If you've watched this far, you now know the 10 mistakes that quietly turn long-haul flights into unnecessarily difficult experiences for senior travelers. And every one of them is preventable with a small adjustment made in advance. None of these require giving up long-distance travel. They require booking the right seat, packing medication correctly, using the services that already exist, and building in a little buffer at the other end. None of these fixes require special equipment beyond a few inexpensive items, and none of them require giving up the kind of long-distance travel that makes visiting family abroad, taking a long planned trip, or simply seeing more of the world possible later in life. They just require treating a long-haul flight as something worth preparing for deliberately, the same way you would prepare for any demanding day. If this video helps you or someone you love avoid even one of these mistakes on the next long-haul flight, hit the like button right now. Subscribe for more practical travel content every week, and share this with the senior traveler in your life who deserves a smoother flight. We'll see you in the next one.